big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
Into the silo.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It is the 14th of June already. Is that not ridiculous?
That is not ridiculous.
Okay, good.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's
Oh, is
exciting.
Little Kim? Do we have Little Kim on the line?
Holy crap.
Little Kim is just as excited about the day as I am. It is Flag Day, of course, something that should not be forgot. The great symbol of our nation. It's the day that we celebrate it and all of its meaning. And obviously we have a lot to cover tonight with all the news.
So is this called American Flag Day or U.S. Flag Day? Or because I've seen lots of flags fly.
Real Kim Frag Day.
Not all of them. I would love Little Kim Frag Day. I would
That's why I
frag
say,
the
That's right. You'll
shite
take grenade.
out of
Real
Little
Kim
Kim.
Frag Day.
We do need a good Little Kim Frag Day.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, did you hear the kid that was released from North Korea just telling the stories about just how horrifically he was treated? Oh, God, it's just upsetting.
Actually, I didn't. All I know is that he was in bad health and came back.
Very bad.
Had, I don't know, health problems, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you can call a coma a health problem, I mean.
Or just a long
Or
nap.
botulism a health problem.
Botulism,
or,
yeah. Everything else-alism.
Someone botched the botulism.
Yes, right in the botch. Right in the botch. Obviously, we have a ton of things to talk about today, starting with the shooting in Alexandria, Virginia. We have to cover the Comey sessions. We get a lot going on tonight. We will get to it, but let's go around the room. First and foremost, sir. And we're done. PZ, I'm just kidding.
Whoa. Hey, look, people can look now, right? I can see my bright, smiling face.
Oh, God, yeah. No, that's
Hello.
everything they want to... Oh, yeah, you work that
I miss
camera.
you.
You work it.
How's your week?
It was decent, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Mine was also.
Was it?
Hey, call me Commander.
Commander?
Yeah, there you go.
I love how every week you come in and it's a new nickname that you expect us to call you.
But you do it. Like, that's the best part. I'll get a random text in the middle of the week from Sean, and it'll be like,
My favorite week is when we were calling you
so
Senior Honker.
Senor Honker,
Yes.
because it was during Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would that be Sink Your Hunker?
It could have been.
It depends. If BW's here, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, there's no doubt about that.
I love the fact
Yes, you love the fact what?
that you're just your facial expressions, and now people can see that, and it's just so sweet, and I love it.
Oh, I know. It's just magical.
It is hot in the studio.
It is hot in here tonight. It's a scorcher.
Scorcher.
Yeah, it's
It's
a little bit
a
of a
scorcher.
scorcher. A little bit of a scorcher.
We're dealing with a lot of in here right now.
You know, I told everybody last night that it was global warming, and Monday night I was at the house, and Monday night it was 38 degrees.
Yes, it was a chilly couple nights.
Yep.
It was
With rain.
With rain. Great thunderstorms. We don't get a lot of thunderstorms around here. And there was Sunday had some great thunderstorms. I actually threw the little guy in the truck, and we went around and watched some lightning.
Chasing them
Yeah, a little bit.
in your armored vehicle.
In my armored vehicle with my extra protection on my head. You know, I had a helmet just in case. But I'm kind of mandated to drive with one anyhow. It's a long story. It had
Yeah,
to do
that's right.
the rollover incident of 1998. Anyhow.
The records are sealed. It's not a big deal. We can't really talk about it.
Apparently, you saved the life of one international king, and
And it just
becomes
goes
legend.
it goes viral.
It becomes legend.
Yeah, and in Sean's case, you saved the life of one San Francisco queen. And
Same
it's-
thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying
In
it's
California, I was hailed a hero.
not. Still
Viral.
are.
Right. And all I really did was tie his heel. I don't know. I mean, he was in a bad spot.
You snapped off the other one.
Right.
I mean, which is
Yeah,
fine.
Tied it up. It's fine.
Yeah. It's
BZ,
awesome.
sir, how are you?
I'm fabulous. I was nice and cool. Oh, it's supposed to be. Now, it's going to be hot.
Oh, it's going to be miserable.
How hot? Damn
hot. Real hot.
Do a little crotch pot cooking.
104 degrees this coming Monday.
Triple digits. To which I ask myself every single time we get into allergy season and this heat, why the hell do I live here?
You know what's awesome? Sackhead Michaela may or may not be getting married outside.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Better you than me, son.
Not me. She's the one in the wedding dress.
Like-
So I'm just going to take pictures, a reminder of this day.
Like here she's going to get married here.
Deeper in the valley.
Oh, that's always a good idea. It should be
But
cooler
I mean,
there.
like this weekend.
The wind funnels
Yeah.
right down the valley where it's supposed to be 101 degrees Saturday.
Yeah, but on Sunday when it's supposed to be 105.
Oh, son of a bitch. Why?
I hate the heat.
Why
So where the hell do I live?
Yes.
Right here. How insane is that?
I say it all the time, and actually, Big Fat Paulie and I have a good conversation about this usually. So, starting in what? Late March, early April, we get into allergy season, and then we're miserable physically until right about this time of year, and the allergies start dissipating a little bit.
Yeah.
But then we get into heat,
And then you're miserable.
and then I'm miserable until about September, end of
Right.
September. So really, from October through March, I do okay. The rest of the
And
year,
really, October, it's been some Indian summers, feather, not dot.
Right.
So the heat has actually gone into. Well, I have to clarify. It's
No,
not
I know.
racist, right?
Right, you just want to be specific.
Yeah, I want to be specific. So the heat actually goes through October. So you are actually more like you're good like mid-November to
Why does this
January.
have to happen to me? I just don't understand it.
See, if I didn't hate the area, to me, the perfect area would be
Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
right on the Pacific Ocean. I hate to say it, Seattle
Yeah,
would
Seattle
be
would be
What
a
is
cool-
wrong with
great
you?
place to me. Except
What is wrong with you?
for the politics.
I mean,
if you
logically speaking,
yanked the politics out of that,
By the way,
Yeah.
was
I
it
would
Portland?
love to live in Seattle.
Was it Portland or Seattle where the PD was dropping flashbangs right next to the protesters?
I believe it was Portland.
Gosh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, no, I
which is so bizarre considering Portland's past.
yeah.
Or the
I think they're
PD's
just tired of
past.
the bullshit.
Well, and here's the problem. We've talked about this a million times before.
Oh, here's the problem. Like, there's not 1,000 of them, right? You are going to single-handedly identify the problem. Please,
Well, that's his
proceed.
job. His job is to identify the problem, which is why he says, "Here's the problem."
Right, the problem.
The problem.
Not here's one of many
He's
problems.
sussed it
Here's
out.
the don't you mute me.
No, but here's one of the many fucking problems.
Thank you. Thank you. That's better.
Is at some point the people in your city, as we saw with Portland earlier this year, get sick of this shit. And they're getting sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
And they're starting to demand that something actually
How could you
done
be a
for
business owner in any one of these towns, make any money, have your shit destroyed again and again, including the people that are stupid enough to park their cars downtown, some place near these, disruptions, etc., protests, which are actually riots, and not get pissed off when your shit gets destroyed again and again and again. That's got to be just a tad irritating.
That was a thoughtful.
No, I'm getting complaints about the video stream, so I'm working on that right now.
That's because the camera's on you.
There you go, big nose.
Thank you. A wide angle, by the way. This camera is actually the wide angle camera.
The wide angle.
Because just in case I do this, which you can see why we need it. Hey, I've been wanting to talk to you about this.
Okay.
I took a trip to San Francisco last weekend.
Yes.
You poor bastard. I feel sorry for you.
So I took a trip to San Francisco with kids.
Again, I repeat, you poor bastard. I feel sorry for
So
you.
let me set the scene. Kids wanted to go to San Francisco, and I gave in. Very good reason to give in, but I gave in.
Okay.
And they wanted to go to Pier 39.
Okay.
So we go to Pier 39, right? We eat at the Bubba Gump's. That's there, which it's a decent, it's
For
it's
people
fun.
For people
It's
that don't
fun.
know, Pier 39 is the equivalent of being, like right in the San Francisco Bay. It's a tourist area.
Big time. Cruise ship is there.
the
Everybody
cruise ship's
goes
docked
there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Ghirardelli Square is there. Pier
Yep.
39 goes right out into the bay. You see the seals that are barking, and there's tons of restaurants, and it's a tourist area.
Not the Navy SEALs either, like
No.
the actual
Real
SEALs.
honest
yeah,
to
real
God SEALs.
Real SEALs. So they want to go. Okay, fine. So we go, and at some point, my oldest kind of goes off and kind of wants to go check out the shops and stuff with her friend, and I'm taking the rest of the herd. And B-Dub is with the elder group, and I have the younger crew, and we're strolling down, and of course, the younger ones see the World War II submarine.
Oh, the Pompanito.
Yes,
Oh, the Pompanito is way cool.
So they see this submarine, and they want to go check it out. Big gun on the deck. Right.
Well, why would you
Which I'm
not?
surprised San Francisco actually didn't make them remove any of those deck guns.
Right, because they decided that they were going to rip the actual Navy out of there, which is why the Navy doesn't stay there anymore, because the damn city didn't want them.
Good. I wouldn't stay there either. Screw them. Let them lose out on that money. Let all the prostitutes lose out on all those semen.
Right.
On all that semen. So,
There, I'm glad you quantified that.
yeah. No, I had to quantify that. They're not as much quantifying anymore.
That's right.
So they wanted to go check. So we were walking down, and there's this individual, and they're sitting there, and there's families walking around. So you described Pier 39 pretty well. So there's a lot of families there, tourist area. People go there to visit because it's right on the water.
Yeah,
It's
and
cool.
not just from California. I mean,
right,
people from
literally all over the world,
nation and the
all
world.
over the world,
Exactly.
literally all over the world.
So-
It's if it was not in such a shithole city, it would be a cool place.
That's very true.
But it's in a shithole city.
It smells like pee.
Literally everywhere. Disgusting. Yeah. So we're walking, and there's this individual, and this individual is sitting down, and there's a line of individuals sitting down holding signs. And these particular people smell like urine and fecal matter.
Well, there's a shock.
And they are scratching themselves, and it looks like, probably ridden with scabies. And they're ridden with scabies. And this individual is holding up a sign and has a bucket out collecting money. and the sign said,
Busket.
"Fuck Trump." And there was another individual.
Was he like raising money for an escort service?
No.
Okay.
No. And there was another individual right by this individual who finished pissing on the sidewalk with everybody walking by.
But wait.
Well, no, hang on, because this paints a picture and is going to bring something up.
Does. Sure.
And
Poor guy's expressing himself.
and holding up a
Exactly.
sign that
Thank
says, "I'm not going to lie, I want money for weed and coke."
A cola.
No.
Oh, well, at least he's
And so there are several of these individuals holding signs like this, and little guys I'm with look at me and, "Daddy,
Quick question.
why does that guy have a sign that says, 'Fuck Trump'?"
Wow. Challenge. Sackheads Clint is challenged. The gauntlet has been hurled. I'd love to hear what you said.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in this too now.
And the other one says, "What's weed and coke?"
Oh.
Like he wants a soda? And we're right here in front of these individuals, so I stop to answer right in front of these two fucking idiots that are out there in front of everybody.
BZ?
I can't wait.
BZ, you know
yeah,
where this is
yeah.
going to go.
And
right?
I
can't
decide to use my big boy voice because there are lots of people walking around. And I said, "Boys, this is what happens when society stops caring about the good of everybody else." I said, "This is what happens," and I point to both of these fucktards. And I said, "This is what happens when everybody gets a trophy. This is what happens when everybody is allowed to exist in this state.
Yes.
This is what happens when we don't talk bad about people using this type of language or hanging their penis out to urinate in public in front of everybody. We allow them to do drugs and everything else, and this is where my tax dollars go." And they looked at me, and I said, "For example, if I didn't have to support these two people, we'd be able to go to Disneyland instead of driving to San Francisco and go to Pier 39.
Oh, I like that.
Now, with that, they look at these two individuals with utter contempt.
Oh, this is magic.
Because now these two individuals prohibited them from seeing Mickey Mouse.
This is magic.
Which is awesome. I said, this person probably hates Trump because he doesn't want to have to work for anything, and now these two individuals are starting to get pissed a little bit, right?
Well, plus he has no goals.
Plus he has no goals. And people are kind of like, I'm causing a little bit of a scene, but not like a major scene. Like I'm not challenging anybody to fight. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm simply answering a question that my boys had. I said, now, it's okay for people to disagree, because then, of course, my smart kid asks...
smart kid.
Right, he asks, well, why can't...
This is forever going to be...
This is forever enshrined. My smart kid is, why can't he get arrested?
Oh!
And I said...
Oh, yes! Let's keep going.
So I said, son, people have a right to be ignorant in this country. I said, he doesn't have to agree with Trump. He doesn't have to agree with anybody, and that's okay. There are people who are very intelligent people who don't like President Trump, and it's okay not to like somebody. I said, but what I disagree with is the fact that he's out here in front of everybody. I have you guys, lots of kids around, and he has something like that written on his sign. I said, and this jackass... I didn't say jackass. I said jackass maybe. I said I now
Probably.
have to explain.
I'm going to go with the fact that you definitely said jackass. We're not going to let him cut away from this, are we? That's ridiculous. You said jackass.
I probably did. I said I now have to explain to my 7-year-old what drugs are, specifically weed, and that he doesn't want a can of Coca-Cola. So hey, we might as well start this discussion now. So I was a little pissed. They were not happy with me kind of calling them out right there.
Being honest?
People with no life goals, yeah. The boys appreciated it.
Well, naturally.
And what's great is they were like, we walk away after, of course, I lose my mind a little bit and explain things to them.
Just a
wee bit, because it's me. Why wouldn't I? And they're like, oh, I don't like this city. And I high-fived each of them, and we went and toured the World War II submarine where real Americans actually sacrificed for the country.
Funny thing is, the biggest thing that I remember about the Pompanito, which was a diesel-electric sub from World War II, is the captain's cabin. And this is the dude that runs the ship. The captain's cabin is about the size of a really small closet.
Yes.
Yes.
Like a water
And
closet.
it doesn't have a door. It has a drape.
Yeah.
That's how the captain acquired his privacy.
Yeah. Well, all the guys were in those bunks in that super tight.
Oh, right.
corridor.
They slept above the torpedoes.
Yeah. But it was, really, really cool.
It's a great tour.
That sub sank six Japanese ships, damaged 4 others, completed its tour. Of obviously fought.
You're right,
in the
though. I am
Pacific
surprised
campaign.
that it's still there. I'm surprised there hasn't been some
And the
kind of a...
Fitzgerald too was moored right behind it. I think it was a minesweeper or a supply ship or.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a petition to rid the docks of that ship.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Well,
it's a submarine, it's a boat.
there is a sub memorial there also for all of the subs that are either lost or missing in action.
Yeah, see, that's got to go too.
I have to say, though, Clint, you're getting some decent response here in the chat room.
Yes, you are.
Everybody was very, very happy with the story, which you can actually go to shrmedia.com if you want to jump in the live chat.
Carrie says, "Good job, Clint. Good dad."
And she also asked if you got punched in the nose a lot in the past, and that's what happened to your nose over situations like that. Which I said, obviously, yes.
Well, that
So here's how my
the
nose
swelling.
I learned how to fight from a very young age because I've always been kind of an asshole.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie.
for as long as I've known.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But I did have to learn how to fight from a young age. So this is a true story. True story. So my brother, he's 7 years older.
So
than
glad we're going to get to news tonight.
me. No, look, we are.
This has been a biography.
Listen, smartass, you brought this up.
Sackhead
This has been
Clint.
fun.
You brought this up. So my brother, 7 years older than me, and this is what he says. I'm like 8 years old. He sits me up on a trash can. He says, "Have you ever been in a fight?" I was like, "I like a second grade fight, I don't know." He says, "Close your eyes." So I close my eyes. You've heard this story before.
Yes, I have.
He punches me in the face as hard as he can, knocks me ass over tea kettle off the trash can, lifts me up by the back of the shirt and says, "Don't you cry, I swear to God I'll punch you again." And so I'm sitting there with tears.
This sounds like my dad.
He's
this is
he's
brilliant, isn't
15 years old. I'm 8.
He's just
right?
winning the shit
And
out of him.
yes, and he's like,
Great.
and he goes, good, pats me on the back and takes me aside. And that was, hey, I learned how to take a punch.
There you go.
Learned how to take a punch. I thank my brother for making me tough because, God, what an asshole he was, huh?
Yeah, but he absolutely nailed it.
He did, like literally.
Hey, so one of the finest compliments that I've ever got in chat just was said by Mary Brockman. It says, "You've lost weight and gained hair. What's wrong with you?"
So Sean has a special camera. And whereas a wide angle is used to enhance my nasal capacity,
Hold on, I want
to
see
make
how this,
me.
I want to see how this pans out. Go ahead.
Yeah, go pan out.
Get it?
Sean
got it. I got
uses.
it.
Sean
Thank you.
actually ordered a slimming camera.
Yes.
And you can look him up online. And he actually paid. He downloads a program onto it because cameras now you can actually program directly, where it actually is a hair enhancement program.
All
So
right.
this program actually makes him look slimmer, although he has gained, I think, about 12 pounds.
20.
And he's lost more hair. Another thing he tried is actually shaving some from his chest and back. And kind of
Transplanted, right?
putting it on-
Transplanted.
What most
on
people don't
place,
realize
yeah.
is that's this part right here at the front. That's why it's more curly.
Yeah, no. Well, that's from the other part that you.
Well,
it doesn't
whatever.
matter.
It's they just
The-
said move it. I didn't say from where.
The nether regions.
the nether regions. Time for news. Shootings today. Horrific day. Woke up to the news of the GOP baseball practice in Virginia, where a Bernie Sanders supporter, and no, I'm not being inflammatory. He was, in fact, a Bernie Sanders supporter, volunteered on his campaign and so forth, opened fired on the Republicans and their staffers. Horrific event. Nobody killed. Nobody's dead yet. We pray that.
Well, the shooter.
Well, the shoot. No,
Yeah,
I meant nobody.
Nobody's dead.
Nobody of
Oh,
no,
of
nobody,
consequence.
Nobody
Yeah.
of consequence is
Right.
dead.
Nobody who counts.
And nobody innocent. Just a horrific story. Bernie Sanders, to his credit, came out right away and denounced the violence. There was bipartisan support. The speaker got a standing ovation when he said, "Hey, this affects all of us. This is our brothers and sisters." And you know what? Good for him, and good for the Democrats that stood up also and gave him the standing ovation.
I got to say, we can talk about the authenticity of everyone's speeches, but Pelosi as well gave a very nice speech.
Yeah,
Shocking.
Look,
Very
but you know what? When something like this happens, and we all know, and I don't want to really get too much into this, but we all know if this were a Republican that shot at the Democrats,
It'd be a different animal.
it would be a whole different animal. It would be violent right-wing extremist. It
Yep.
would be, but I gotta say, and when that happens, there is there's always bipartisan effort of, hey, you know what, we need to come together on this.
And look, I guess what I'm commenting on is I'm glad to see that still exists on some level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you have leftists all over the media right now who are praising this incident. That Scalise is still lying in critical condition and lost a ton of blood.
Yeah.
There are people on social media right now who are praising this.
Yes.
And it's funny when we talk about the shooter, and he's 64-year-old guy, Democrat,
66, yep.
66,
Unemployed
from Illinois, and I won't say his name because he's a maggot.
No, doesn't deserve it.
Walks up to the ball field. Now, for those who don't know, the congressional baseball game is a regular event. They do it to raise money. It's the Democrats versus the Republicans, and they're all practicing in the same kind of area. And they said, "Hey," he goes, "Who is that? The Republicans?"
He
over there?"
asked a member of Congress.
Yes. Is that the Republicans playing over there? And they said yes. And that's when he retrieved his weapon and approached the field from behind or from the third base side and began shooting.
Yep.
Scalise has a protection detail because of his status in Congress. Luckily, because if they were not there, who knows what could have happened?
Armed response stopped it.
Immediately. Well, it didn't even stop it. And so,
Well, wait.
Yeah, it did.
No. It stopped it. But if you watch the video, it wasn't a quick stop.
No, but
Oh, no.
it was able to
It-
put him
it
under.
was-
it was able to
Yeah,
put him
no.
under fire.
It was lengthy.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is
It was a gun battle at that point.
yeah. It
But
turned
it
into
wasn't
a gun
innocent people just being picked
right.
off.
The biggest difference, right? That would have been a
Yep.
slaughter, a complete
Yep.
slaughter.
Absolutely.
And I have my opinion as to why that was his objective in a minute. But the two Capitol Police officers, both of them received injuries, but both are expected to survive. Engaged him, and eventually put enough ammunition into him to drop him to the ground and kill him, as should have been. Obviously, the majority whip,
Majority whip.
Scalise took a round to the hip. Excessive bleeding, excessive damage. He's gone through 2 surgeries. He's still listed in critical at this time. A few other members outside of the police officers were staffers and volunteers who also got shot. From what I've read, anywhere from 20 to 25 members of Congress in that ball field at the time of the incident.
Yes, including Rand Paul. So it wasn't just the representatives. It wasn't just the House of Representatives.
Right. It was both sides.
It was some senators.
Clint?
Yeah, no, I'm listening.
Okay, go ahead.
No, it's. You had a theory of why that happened, but then
Yeah.
I do want to get on the San Francisco thing too.
Yeah.
But
we may have to push that over. We ran a little long on it. Oh, the San Francisco shooting?
yeah, no, that'll be quick.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened. There's no guns allowed in San Francisco, but it did.
Ever. So, my thought on this really quick was, listen, you have a guy who hates this administration. He hates Republicans. It's very well known on social media.
Yep.
He made no bones about it. He retrieved a weapon. Could be illegally at this point, it looks like, because there's some criminal record there, et cetera, et cetera. The weapon, if we think it is what it is probably on the ban list anyways, so he should have achieved it. We're not 100% on that. They haven't released that detail. However,
Either way, he's not supposed to kill people with it or attempt to.
ever.
Yep.
Ever.
Well, self-defense.
However, when you show up to the Republican side and specifically identify, is this the Republicans? And you know there's 25 of them there, and you have enough ammunition to take it out, because it sounds like he had extra ammunition on him. You are trying to change the political power in this country through a mass shooting. Because should he have been successful, we could be talking 20 to 25 special elections all over this country right now.
Yeah.
And you're now looking at the Democrats potentially being able to make a push to get those seats back.
And if he's trying to seize power through violence, I would say that's treason.
I would say that's treasonous as well. But I believe to be his objective. His objective was to try to change. He can't do anything about the president, so he's going to change Congress and try to get power.
You think
back
somebody?
to the left.
I hope, but I hope not. I hope somebody's not. Look, if there are people on the left that, or either side, look. But if there are people out there, which obviously there are, that think that they can change the political landscape or take action against somebody of power, that's problematic.
Yeah.
On either side.
Yes.
But the fact that there is somebody out there that is so anti-Republican, so anti-whatever, to be able to take violent steps for that. And we've talked a little bit about the violent movement on the left, particularly BAM, By Any Means Necessary, Antifa, and a lot of these other leftist groups that are in schools, universities, and so forth, where they do preach violence and the violent overthrow in order to accomplish objectives. We here on the Sackheads Radio Show and the SHR Media Network
do not condone.
We do not condone
violence
on any level, any way, shape, or form, for any type of reason like that. And self-defense, obviously, that's a different story. But if you're talking about taking your anger to that level, absolutely, we absolutely do not condone that. San Francisco employee.
Alleged.
At UPS, alleged employee at UPS goes in, shoots coworkers. 4 dead now, I think.
4 dead now. 5 total shot.
5 total shot. Motive unknown. Shooters killed, or alleged shooters killed. Self-inflicted
Suicide.
gunshot wound. Again, I don't know how this happened in San Francisco, gun-free zone. The mayor came out, and of course, that jackass says it's sad anytime people die of gun violence.
Yep.
Not anytime people die. Not we have to address the issue of violence. Not.
What if you walked in and threw 4 Molotov cocktails into a break room?
Yeah, no, wouldn't be sad.
It's sad that someone wasted some gasoline like that,
Right.
because it's a petroleum-based product.
Impact.
Yeah.
So think of the terrible impact of something like that.
It's
I mean,
true.
you have to forecast down the road. Think of Mother Earth. Think of Gaia.
Yeah. Well, our thoughts and prayers are with all of the families tonight.
Absolutely.
We pray for the recovery. We pray we come together as a
Horrific.
country. Look, horrible rhetoric in both sides of political campaigns has been around since the Adams-Jefferson campaign. And then again with John Quincy Adams, John Adams' son, go figure, and Andrew Jackson, 1828, I think it was. So horrible vitriol has been spewed before, and media used to be very, very biased around the founding of our country. But I think the difference is back then our country was we were all kind of headed the same direction. We just disagreed on how to do it, and a lot of that was personal attacks. Today we're going in 2 complete opposite directions as a country, and unless we figure out a common goal to get there together, my fear is that this type of behavior is going to continue. ACH said earlier, "Hey, we don't talk anymore." Like it's sad. He obviously doesn't condone violence.
No, God,
Thoughts
no.
goes out. He said nobody talks anymore. Nobody can talk. You can't disagree without being labeled something or without.
You can't carry on a discourse.
You can't. And man, with as polarized as we are, and again, I don't think it's personality based. I think it is core principle.
It's philosophy.
based.
It's ideological.
And that is far more difficult to overcome.
Based in identity politics, period.
Absolutely. So, all this and more. We have more coming up. We're up against a break. Next segment, the Comey session, followed by the Sessions session. And then we're going to get into the expansion of the probe to ram up Trump's.
All that and more on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. What?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's Bigfooted enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet. Via the glorious SHR Media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. Coming soon to Ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And yeah. Welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Oh, yeah. It's pretty awesome. Not going to lie, it's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
We're sharing?
We're sharing.
We're sharing.
We're sharing.
Ah, there we go. Now,
is this something that we can actually...
No, we're not going to share it on the camera.
Okay, then we won't. I won't pull the camera.
Yeah, it's just amazing that guys went down to the sea in those things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Especially back in the day. Yeah. No, I love going there.
Because
it's
at
amazing.
that time, those things actually ran on the surface much more efficiently than they did underwater, where now the exact opposite is true.
Yeah, well, they needed to come up. They needed to run the snorkel for fresh air.
Right, because
right.
The diesel engines are normally aspirated, and the entire boat stank like diesel all the time.
Yep. God, I love the smell of diesel.
I do, too.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
So Comey. Let's get right to Comey. Comey testified, God, it seems like a year ago now. Was it Friday?
Yeah. Yeah, he testified on Friday.
He testified a lot on Friday. It was a full testification.
He was a testicular.
Of the manipulation of the infatuation.
Comey. Just and Comey. Maybe and I'll be around.
Hold on, wait. If he's going to dance, I'm getting it.
I don't Comey.
There we go.
Comey.
This guy is a shit show. That's the biggest part about this.
Wait, you said that while BZ was on the screen. So
I
what are you
was
talking
about Comey again.
I didn't know. I was just clarifying.
Sorry, BZ.
That's all right.
Oh, God. I don't even know where to begin with this testimony other than the fact that, you know, it was one of, as everyone said, depending on what side of the aisle you're sitting on is what you could take out of it. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously what I took out of it is the biggest one for me, honestly, was the Loretta Lynch thing.
Yeah. When Dianne Feinstein comes out and says,
This is a problem?
yeah,
No.
we might need to look at this.
And of course, I'm talking about the meeting between Clinton and Loretta Lynch while Bill Clinton, while Hillary was still running in office, and they had the private meeting.
Oh, you weren't talking about when Comey hands her the piece of paper and she gives him a steely look, and then he leaves her office? Not that time?
The other time.
Oh, the other time. Got it.
But having it being referred to as a matter versus an investigation.
Being ordered to.
Ordered to. Voluntold, as you will.
Yep.
And we're talking about political corruption.
And yet, still and all, Hope telling James Comey that President Trump hoped something about Flynn, that's obstruction of justice.
Well,
no, he wasn't sure
was
because
it
otherwise
misdemeanor hope? Or was it
felonious hope?
Felony hope. I'm wondering.
I'm hoping it was felonious hope.
Well, the
I'm not gonna lie.
Democrats are, that's for sure.
Well, we'll talk about. I don't want to showbiz your segment, BZ, but based on that hope,
yeah,
there was change.
There was.
There sure as hell was.
Absolutely was change. Oh my goodness. And so for me, that was actually the bigger takeaway than everything else. Listen, I didn't think there was any intentional orders given by Trump to Comey. And I'll be completely honest. I just don't think that Trump was actually worried about any sort of issues with his people. And the fact that he said, hey, if there is an issue, I want you to investigate it and I want it out and open right away.
As Alan Dershowitz said, and to be coming from Alan Dershowitz, again, I quote a lot of Alan Dershowitz stuff on my show because I want people on the left to hear what people on the left are saying when they're basing what they're saying upon the truth, upon the law. Alan Dershowitz was saying he's the president. He gets to do that. He gets to decide about investigations. He gets to inquire. He wasn't obstructing. Dershowitz came out and specifically said, there's no obstruction of justice here. That is all within the purview of the President of the United States. Was it awkward, etc.? Yes. Was it illegal or moving towards obstruction? No.
So here's my theory on that meeting anyhow. I think it's one of two things, right? I think it's a meeting of the boss, the new boss, turning around and saying, hey, this is my expectations. This is what I am. We know this, especially with Comey. There's been some controversy around your tenureship here as leader, and I think it's also a little bit. It was a little bit of the one-on-one. Is definitely the little bit of the don't fuck with me.
Well, see, the other thing is leftists are trying to make this about it's unusual, it's terrible, it's amazing. No one, the president shouldn't be meeting with the FBI director quietly, one-on-one. That's never done. You never meet with the FBI.
Sure you do.
Bullshit.
Right. It happens. It used to happen all the time. And you know why? Because there's some things that the president is discussing with the head of the FBI that may be very, very critical to only be between those two at that point.
And there's the humanity factor. The humanity factor is you and me can all look at someone and with appearing in front of somebody and looking at them is incredibly different from calling them on the phone or sending them a text message. You get so much more back in terms of body language, the whole Paul Ekman thing.
Well, and here's a guy who shakes hands and does business for a living, right? That's what he is. He's a businessman. Whether you like him or not, he was a businessman. Especially that early on. That's his deal.
And he's a great negotiator. He's great one-on-one. And so, of course, he's going to want to meet face-to-face with somebody. Oh,
Why
my
would
gosh,
he not?
the president met face-to-face with somebody.
Well, I know, but the guest in the chat room...
Dude, what is he, a teenage cheerleader? Is he supposed to send text messages to everybody?
You know...
Nothing against teenage cheerleaders.
Pointed out...
He could have tweeted him.
In the chat room that Comey met with Bush already, and Comey met with Clinton. So, all right, now it becomes different because it's Trump?
Yeah.
And Comey, what kind of a man are you paying when at 6'8" he says he's afraid of meeting with Trump?
I think he's afraid of meeting with Trump because he knew he's leaking, which he admitted to.
Which he
admitted to. He was afraid he was going to get found out. I think he was in fear. Why else would you be in fear? If you didn't do anything wrong, why would you be in fear?
There's an ex-FBI SSA who came out and said, by the way, that's not the first time that I believe that he leaked. I believe that Comey, specifically named Comey, leaked on 2 separate prior occasions.
Yep,
if you've done it once, you've done it before.
Oh, yeah.
For one reason, political ends.
Well,
he knew that he was going to get Mueller to get, not Mueller per se, but to get someone appointed as...
I think he knew Mueller.
Well, of
because
course, they're both FBI directors.
They are, and Mueller's a good friend of
Yes, he
Comey's.
is.
And I think that the Republicans that put Mueller in place are Republicans that don't want Trump there.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the expansion of the probe later.
All political.
But I do think that there is a play within the Republican Party to get Trump out and to have Mike Pence sworn in as the president.
Trump is upsetting the apple cart. Number one, he's making the Republicans, in some occasions, look like absolute goons.
Mm-hmm. They are.
Which they are.
They are.
Which they are. And they don't like that.
He's making the Democrats look like goons, too.
He's against what I call the establishacks, and they're pissed off when the swamp doesn't, because you're not going to drain the swamp. There's too much. There just is too much in D.C. But he is going to upset some things and throw some rocks into the tidal basin.
Yeah. And good. That's why the people elected him.
That's exactly right.
Look, love him or hate him, he's pissing off both sides of the aisle. This is why he was elected. He was sent there because people are sick of the same political bullshit.
Well, and
I mean, like him or hate him, the man's smart. Like him or hate him, the man has had a positive impact on our economy. Like him or hate him, look, having a discussion saying he hopes something or would like to see something isn't illegal.
No. And right, so you have to look. How many times have you hoped for something without any sort of real influence behind it? Or you tell somebody, hey, you know what, I hope I get a raise, or I hope this works out right. Or
I've hoped for something and I've had influence behind it.
Right. But hoping for something and demanding something are 2 totally different things.
Yes.
I didn't see anything that would even come close to it leading to
Can't the president say he doesn't want something investigated?
Yes. Politically, it's not a bright move, but legally, he can do it.
Right.
Okay, here's a definition. The crime of obstruction of justice in United States jurisdictions refers to the crime of obstructing prosecutors or other, usually government officials. Common law jurisdictions other than the United States tend to use the wider offense of perverting the course of justice.
What's the
So
corpus?
by saying
What's
hope-
the corpus? How's it fit? Do you have the code?
Let me see. I think that's...
It's very, very specific.
I think it's 18 U.S.C. 73. Let's see what that says.
It's very specific. You have to do it through fear.
Yes.
Through threat. Through force.
Okay, let's go.
While you're looking that up.
A person obstructs justice when they have a... it's a crime of specific intent.
Oh, we've heard this before.
Versus general intent. A person obstructs justice...
Or colonel intent.
When they have...
lieutenant intent.
Or corporal intent. I had corporal intent laid upon me at one time when I was a child, and it hurt a lot. A person obstructs justice when they have a specific intent to obstruct or interfere with a judicial proceeding. For a person to be convicted of obstructing justice, they must not only have the specific intent to obstruct the proceeding, but the person must know, 1, that a proceeding was actually pending at the time, and 2, that there was a nexus between the defendant's endeavor to obstruct justice and the proceeding, and the defendant must have knowledge of the nexus.
Yeah, so
Dang, I was off with the whole fear and threat thing.
I could make an excellent argument for that being in there.
Something about a hammer and a sickle. No, that's Obama. Never mind.
Yeah.
That was the other guy.
That was the other guy.
If
you have a hammer and a sickle, you didn't build that.
We all built it together. Only I'm going to be the one who benefits.
If Trump obstructed justice, he didn't do that. Wait. That's not what I said.
So that was my biggest takeaway, though, was I know we went down the other rabbit hole, but the Loretta Lynch thing. And that's something that I think now we need to – that investigation should be
You know
done.
what? This opened up a perfect opportunity for Trump to revisit Hillary.
Yes.
Because he promised
Not just Hillary. Don't just stop there. How about
I won't. Settle down. I won't going to stop there. But I said Hillary because it was a specific campaign promise.
Right.
That he's let go. This James Comey testimony gives him a perfect opportunity to say, hey, in light of Comey's testimony now, I think we need to relook at the Clinton matter. Have an independent prosecutor, because what the fuck does the Justice Department do if they can't investigate anything? We have to have an independent prosecutor for everything. But let's have an independent prosecutor for Hill Dog, and let's look at Loretta Lynch. Let's see how far this goes.
Well, and there's depth there.
Because guess what? Obama can't say stop investigating this because he's not the president anymore.
Ooh.
By the way, if he were put in prison, let's look at Eric Holder and Fast and Furious.
Oh, yes, that's what I'm saying.
That was interesting.
The Democrats opened
They opened Pandora's box.
The door by going
Yes,
Russia,
they did.
Russia.
Yes, they did.
The biggest one that needs to get reopened is Benghazi.
Yeah, look, absolutely.
I said that last night. I said, okay, you've got possible Seth Rich, you've got 4 people killed, and you've got Brian Terry. That's 5, potentially 6 people, deaths, American deaths.
Look,
and you don't give a shit about that.
If Flint, Michigan elected officials can be charged for manslaughter
for water,
why can't Hillary Clinton or those yahoos be charged for manslaughter for Benghazi?
Oh, I have the precedence is there. The precedence is there. And first of all, you could look at neglect. You can look at so many other factors that would lead into that, right? More so than Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, that's my point.
Right, Flint, Michigan. They're just trying to get.
I don't know if there's a federal statute that allows that.
No, I don't know either.
I don't know, but I mean, god dang, something.
I just think that it's ridiculous at this point that if there's nothing else that comes out of this testimony, I think that's
when is the last time that Congress did anything with people that testify? Well, seriously.
And we've talked about this before, right? We've talked about it with what's her name and the IRS scandals. We've talked about
Loretta Lynch,
so many other things.
Congress, they listen to people talk. They don't act pissed off.
They don't have authority to be punitive.
But they don't do anything about it.
They don't have that authority.
But when they have in the past, you have somebody like Eric Holder not prosecute himself.
Right. But guess what? Eric Holder doesn't have that say anymore.
Right.
Jeff Sessions does.
Right.
So, Mr. President, let's revisit these things.
Right.
I think Comey provided enough information to do that. And when asked if President Trump obstructed, what did he say? Well, I don't know. You'll have to. Mr. Mueller will have to make that determination.
What?
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what, a-hole? Mueller better be careful, because if Mueller makes that determination, guess what? You failed to report it.
Well, from being the angelic god that the leftists make him out to, they
were just as pissed off calling for his firing too.
Certainly, but that was when their ox got gored.
Yes.
And then the goring went to the other side. That was just fine. But the other thing is also, these memos, that was purposeful. That was political.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the memos? There's a Senate committee. Did anyone ask Comey to bring the memos? Let's see the memos.
Well,
what's the content?
And not just these memos. Like I've said before, I want to see the memos on Hillary. I want to see whatever personal notes and memos he took on Loretta Lynch. I want to see any of these investigations. If you're taking notes with this meeting, that means you do this all the time, right?
Absolutely.
Or you don't do it all the time, and now there's
and what you wrote was bullshit.
Right. Now there's intent, though, because you were setting this up. And then to send it to a friend who accidentally leaked it, I'll tell you right now, Comey should be prosecuted.
Absolutely, Comey should be
I
prosecuted.
have no doubt in my mind he should be prosecuted.
100%.
18 U.S.C. 641. That's the perfect place to start. Whoever embezzles, steals, purloins, or knowingly converts to his use or the use of another, or without authority sells, conveys, or disposes of any record, voucher, money, or thing of value to the United States or of any department or agency thereof, etc., etc., etc.
Record is in there, correct?
Yes.
That would be a record.
Material was not his to convey.
Correct.
That was United States property.
Absolutely.
Written on a United States computer.
Yes, an iPad.
Thank you.
Or an iTablet or whatever the hell it was. So, we went into last week, we were talking about the Comey testimony being a big nothing burger. And I think for what everybody on the left was hoping for, it's a big nothing burger, right? At the end of the day, they're not getting much out of it.
That's not true. Mueller's expanding the probe, and we'll talk about it.
Okay. But, I mean, overall, as far as the smoking gun they thought that was going to be there.
Oh, that got shot down the day before.
Right, when he released that
When he released
early.
his opening statement.
Which is funny because that means that he's already got the questions that he was going to be asked. Or...
Jay Sekulow is saying, yes, that already occurred.
And that's the problem. That was my issue that I had. And even if it was just the Democrats that gave him the questions that he was going to ask. But here's the thing. And we talked about this with Comey last week. Here's a guy who I believe thought he could play politics in D.C., and he failed so miserably, both sides hate him. The only time any side's embracing him is when he's saying something negative towards the other side. Mm-hmm. But overall, there's no love for James Comey anywhere. I mean, people are struggling to find good things to say about him that 6-7 months ago we're talking about him like he was the end-all, be-all. The reality of the situation is, listen, he was a fuck-up. I think he was put in that position because he could be pushed around or kept in that position because he could be manipulated. You look at what Holder did with him and then Loretta Lynch. I think that's why he was maintained as long as he could, is because he was a friggin' puppet. And I think that he thought he was smarter than everyone else and could be the puppet master. And now his career is shit, obviously. I mean, he's going to make money working for the Clinton administration or something as a lawyer. But at the end of the day, he didn't get anywhere for himself or anybody else. And we find out that...
But you know what the history books are going to write him, the progressive people who write the history books? If anything more comes out of this Trump thing, he's going to be hailed as the hero who potentially brought down a president.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
An evil, corrupt president.
Yeah.
I worked for probably one of the most useless FBI directors ever.
I think those tombs are mutually exclusive.
But he wasn't a political hack like Comey, and he didn't have to have his face in front of the cameras 24/7 because it's the Comey show. That's not how you conduct the FBI. That's not how you act as director. Trust me when I tell you, because I still talk to certain individuals, the line-level agents, it made them sick to see their FBI dragged through the mud like this. And many of them, once Comey made that initial determination in June that he was going to be the DOJ and usurp that job from Loretta Lynch, they knew that he was a political hack.
You know what?
Because that was one of the worst decisions he ever made. Then he decided it would be a great idea to just, that his number two guy and his wife's association with $700,000. Yeah, there's no conflict of interest there.
Why would that be?
You know what?
No,
I think this shows that the FBI should be shut down because that's the kind of jackasses they get in there. I hate the FBI. I hate the FBI. I think the FBI is the biggest bunch of retards on the face of the frickin' planet. There is a reason why they are the only law enforcement group not allowed into Fraternal Order of Police bars.
Yeah.
I heard this from a good friend of mine. They're like, they're not allowed it.
Because they're not cops.
There's a reason.
Let me tell you another thing that you don't know. No. When an FBI agent comes into Sacramento, they have to apply for a concealed weapons permit.
Yeah, they're not allowed to just carry.
Correct.
Yeah, because
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
because what?
Because they're just fuck ups.
Is that for the city of Sacramento, the Sacramento County that made them do that?
County.
Yeah.
County says, yeah, FBI can't carry here.
Yeah, you have to apply for a CCW.
So I have
That's
to.
awesome.
It's granted,
but you have to apply. Before we go to break, and there's some really good ones coming out as to what FBI means. We've talked about this all the time, but I'm going to put it up on the YouTube right now for it to read. Ooh, we're getting some sounds. That's cute and adorable. Let me fix that. There we go. Where was it? Agador, Dave Milner in the chat room. Clint's making some good points tonight. He must have reached a new score in the throw rocks at hooker game. And the fact that
Let me tell you something.
The fact that that still comes up after all this time might be one of my favorite stories going, dude.
Oh, yeah. And what's funny is being in San Francisco, I actually taught the kids how to play.
Thank God.
Which is awesome.
That's sharing is caring.
Yeah.
Sharing
yeah,
is
it's
caring.
awesome. And we may have expanded that to throw rocks at the homeless.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Yes.
Seeing what you saw, doing what you did, would you take your kids back to San Francisco?
Absolutely not.
There
Nope.
you go.
I will.
Absolutely not.
I will after the tidal wave. Folks,
Yeah.
we're up against a break.
I'd drive them over the Golden Gate Bridge and then turn around at the Vista Point and drive right back.
Yeah.
Here's the. I've always said this about San Francisco. If it wasn't for the people, it'd be a great city. I love the architecture there. I love the layout of it.
The history
You
there.
can say that about California.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the people there, it'd be a great town.
Yeah, the history there is beautiful, but
it's just.
I refuse to give them any of my money.
I agree with you. We're up against a break. When we come back, there was more testimony in Congress.
What's the next segment called?
The session.
What?
So it's going to be our session about Jeff Sessions and his sessions in Congress.
Right. So it's the session.
Right
Yeah.
here on the Sackheads Radio.
It's like major.
Show live on the SHR.
Doctor.
That was that catch. That was a catch-22 reference.
And
You're
Doctor.
listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Oh, baby, welcome back. Welcome back to this Sackheads Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Hey, if you're not in the chat room, go to shrmedia.com. You can click live chat and jump right into the chat room right there with
That's
everybody.
right. And if you do it right now, there's a $150 special. If you get into the chat room right now, we will send you $150.
Wait, who is?
SHR.
From what?
Our massive bank account.
No. No, not $150. $150
Doll hairs.
Doll hairs.
Doll hairs.
I'm sorry. I lost something in translation.
No, that's
sorry.
fine. That's
no,
fine.
it's okay. And for those of you that are wondering what doll hairs we're talking about, is
But
I have a tattoo on my back of a doll, and it's the hairs from that is what we're talking about. So
Right, your back hairs.
And there's 150 of them.
There's 150 of them.
Clint actually counted them one by one.
Well, actually, you counted them when you lotioned up my back that one time. But
that was a long
Did
time
I
ago.
ever tell you
time
guys
ago.
what you were doing the one particular day when you were both gone, and I was doing Sackheads, and I had Jersey Joe here?
Oh, that was like 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah. And did you ever hear what
I remember that night.
What I told the people the reason for you being gone?
No.
I said that you had incredible luxuriant thatches of toe hair that you had to get cut, styled, and coiffed. And then
It's actually not wrong.
That's true. I was just going to say, that's true.
I put a graphic
You
up
told
in the
him where this
chat.
was?
Yes.
And I said it was your annual toe hair coiffure.
Yeah.
And that's why you were gone. And you were doing it together because it was a 2-for-1 special. If you both went together, you got a discount.
And
then
did.
you came back, and it was looking much better. And you could wear open-toed shoes
Again,
once more.
Thank God.
Pumps.
Yeah. Right. Well,
Pumps. Come on, BZ.
Because it's summertime.
Pumps.
Right. It's our summer fling. That's what we
right.
do every single summer. Sessions.
Session.
Former Senator Jeff Sessions, who's now Attorney General Jeff Sessions, spoke and gave testimony to a session of Congress.
In this session of Sackheads Radio
which
Show.
we're going to discuss now in this sessions of the SHR.
Sackheads Radio Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russia.
I think the little dude acquitted himself pretty well.
I'll tell you right now, I thought he owned that testimony.
I thought he was going to ask for his Lucky Charms.
They're always after me, Lucky Charms. It's a television commercial.
Right? Like, put his picture right next to the Lucky Charms box and tell me that I didn't just nail that.
It's like the guy has a perennial smile on his face. I don't think he's ever really sad, except for a couple of times in that testimony, he actually got upset.
Yes.
Kamala Harris.
And good
Kamala.
for him. As Kamala
I
Harris.
believe it's Kamala.
Camel took Harris.
Yeah, she's going to be
What?
She's going to be 2020.
What?
Trust me. The reason for all this crap from her, and she's taking it in the chin because
She's taking it where?
Sexist.
She's taking it. Hey, whoa. Go back to what you just said. She's taking it where?
The hair of a chinny chin.
She's taking. I thought you said she's taking it in her hair and on her chin, and I was going to go a whole different place with that.
Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
From Sessions. And now we're just...
From
now-
Sessions.
That's just how rumors start. That's the problem. Go ahead, BZ. Sorry.
I did.
Unconfirmed report. Kamala Harris took it from Jeff Sessions in her hair and on her chin.
That's
it's
right.
unconfirmed. Breaking news.
And that's where you
There
get,
may have been a leak.
That's where you get the words Harris and Bukkake put together. If you look in Google, then
do not do this.
Well, hang on a second. Bukkake is from the Latin root word jalapeno, meaning Kamala's
It
face.
is.
That's all I'm saying.
yeah, Clint, you're right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome.
Thank you for supporting me.
You're
I knew
welcome.
there's a reason I liked you.
Yes, nope. Look, you come to learn shit here on
yes.
the Sackheads Radio Show.
And people become grandly educated.
Absolutely. Now,
As well they should.
how many of our listeners are going to go out now and be like, did
The
you know
chat room
that?
just
He said-
dropped to zero.
He said, he said
Are you
what?
2 feet dropped? This
What?
is just horrific.
Did you know that bukkake is actually from the Latin root word jalapeno?
I thought it meant flock of
meaning
seagulls.
on Kamala's face. I heard it once somewhere.
Educate people left and right.
I don't even know why we're even going to bother going back into this. Let's just keep making bukkake jokes all night right here on the Sackheads, folks.
Look, I'm in.
Holy God.
Oh, God.
Here's the best. Oh, God. Because now I can't recover. Go back to
Are you trying to say? Are you
I
trying to
can't
say?
recover from this?
Are you trying to say she is a bukkake joke?
Choke.
Okay.
Choke? I don't think so. She doesn't look like it. I swear to God, I thought she was going to swallow that microphone whole.
Moving right along.
Okay.
Moving right along.
Okay, go ahead.
We gotta go. Oh shit.
I think Sessions accounted for himself
Come join
pretty
us
well.
at Freedom Fest. And now Sessions handled himself well. He plays right in. Good job, BZ.
Thank you. Thank you. So apparently there are a few people around here who do get the segue. Great.
Yes. Oh, I know. I got it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. He handled himself.
What's she doing a segue?
Nothing. Nothing.
Agador in the chat room.
She wrote it vertically.
Agador in the chat room says this segment is dripping with sarcasm. Why?
You know why? Because they're our listeners.
Oh God.
We bring out the best in
BZ,
people.
BZ, you gotta save us, right? No, you brought us down this friggin' road.
I did. I'm the guilty party here. I'm not the aggrieved party. I'm the guilty party.
Holy God. Oh, please go on with Sessions.
He read from a statement. Basically, he said that he put his little foot down, and I'm glad that he did. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just want to know where that joke's gonna go. Go ahead. His little foot went right down. He just stomped it right in the desk, ever so gently. Sorry, BZ, go on.
Oh, that's all right. But basically, they tried to say that his meeting in public in a motel with Russian Ambassador Kislyak,
Oh God.
who has met with Pelosi and who has met with any number of other Democrats, that was it. That's all the there you need to be there. And then Tucker Carlson, Tuesday night, last night, has a witness on. He didn't name him, but this particular individual came to him and said, I was a witness. I was there in that motel. It was in public. And he didn't go. All right.
Stop, dude! I was doing so good.
What? You were.
Doing so good.
Look, he started talking about being a witness in a motel. He was there. My mind wandered. I had to look at you and giggle.
Oh shit! I can't do it.
It's a good thing everyone doesn't have the video because they'd see how red our faces are right now.
It's up.
All of us.
They match the lava lamp right now.
You know what's great though, and you may not realize this. BZ will get to certain words and immediately start looking back and forth at us. Like, oh, shit, here it comes, right? These assholes can't leave this one alone.
Okay, you know what? I'm done with Sessions. You guys need to chime in.
Oh, hell no. You're doing great.
You're really making this fun.
Well, the bottom line is they thought
You're all full of spunk. I mean, you gotta
Thank you.
You gotta keep this going.
Thank you.
What, Sean?
Where does he go?
Well, not as full as I was maybe in my 20s. But I still have it in me.
Wait,
What?
How do you mean that?
Yeah, what are you trying to say? You're saying that I still have energy, right?
Absolutely.
Isn't that
Yes.
what you meant? Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I was simply replying to that.
Yes.
I still have energy. I'm not dead.
Not quite dead.
You're pointing at me. I agree with you.
Clint's not dead either.
I'm not dead either. I don't have as much spunk gone through me as you, but
He's not looking good, but he ain't dead.
I haven't looked good in years. I turned 40 and it was all over.
Yeah,
I'm not dead.
not quite dead. I'm
Shut
feeling
up, you
better.
crybaby.
I'm feeling better. So
I got better.
So the whole thing with the session is he did a really good job when you talk about the Russian ambassador, and they've quoted him as the Russian spy master in America. They coined him all of these different phrases to make him sound like this big boogeyman, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Sessions nailed him on, hey, all this hyperbole and all these metaphors that you're throwing out there and you're making this stuff up is absolutely ridiculous and insulting.
Yeah.
I forget who I was listening to the other day. It was a radio show, but he said, I've been to those luncheons and those meetings, and that Russian ambassador has met with everybody on one level or another.
Absolutely.
Over lunch.
And he wasn't the only one there.
He was a United States senator on the Foreign Relations Committee.
So
that was his freaking job.
That's incredible. He shouldn't be meeting with Russians.
Yeah.
Right.
How many of them have met with Russians?
Until the last couple years when Hillary destroyed the relationships with them, we were having much warmer relationships.
Right. I like the line of questioning. I forget who was asking. Was there discussion at any point, ever any discussion about building better relations with Russia or about, wait, is something wrong with that?
Right.
Like, we don't trust them, right? But do we really want to be on the cusp of a war with them all the time?
Well, and it's not like a certain president who's making a deal that was actually a treaty with the Iranians sort of issue.
Right.
You have to have a conversation, but you don't have to agree to anything, right? Obviously, as a
Right.
senator, he can't agree to certain things, but you can engage that conversation.
Well,
especially on the Foreign Relations Committee.
Yes.
That's
as a
part of
United
your
States
job.
senator.
Yeah, that's part of his job.
Yes.
If you don't talk to the Russians, to whom do you speak?
Right.
Cherokee?
Right.
You go down to the res, and you speak to the local Cherokee, and you say, give this slip of paper to Medvedev, would you please? Oh, wait, that's right. Obama already did that.
Right.
Sotto voce and said, when I get into my second term, I'll be
have
much
more wiggle
more
room.
lenient with you, Russia.
Yes.
Medvedev, if you would, take that message right back to Putin and tell him.
Absolutely. That was a hot mic moment on video.
That's no problem.
So when we're talking about Sessions and we're talking about the Russians, nothing about that to me seemed odd or out of place whatsoever. And
No.
we've actually met Attorney General Sessions.
Yes.
And he actually is a lovely man.
He is, and his staff loved us.
Absolutely.
By the way.
And we love them. They treated us.
Yeah,
like
they treated
gold.
us. They treated us awesome.
Where was that, by the way? I'm just curious.
How or when?
No, when?
It was 3 years ago. Yeah, it was 3 years.
2014,
Cal GOP.
March 14th to the 16th, 2014.
Cal GOP convention. We were there, and he came and spoke. And
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did a one-on-one with press. And
We blew the rest of the press out of the water
About-
because they were asking
and about
bullshit.
Who we were discussing?
Oh, Russia!
Oh,
Russia! I asked him about Russia.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Huh. Once again, we were on the cutting edge.
That's funny. The geopolitical threat, even before it came up in the election, and we were
Huh.
discussing Russia and a new Cold War.
Cutting edge. SHR, cutting edge.
We were.
And Sessions
We literally
responded
they
very,
were
very well.
they were asking him bullshit.
They were asking about environment and all the other stuff.
And then this was at the time when the Russians were first started. This was right at the time the Russians started sending their subs to patrol routes again. Remember?
Yes.
Which they hadn't done since the Cold War, and they started flying their Tu-95 Bears again, which they hadn't done since the Cold War. And so they're asking about environment and blah 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 and all this stupid shit. And I asked them, hey, with Russia doing X, Y, and Z, do you think we're heading towards another Cold War? Because this hasn't happened since the end of the Cold War.
Well, they're doing it all over again.
And
Yep.
he looked at us and like, wow, you guys aren't fucking libtard media. That is a very insightful question, and he answered us, and we actually had
And
a
he
good
answered
dialogue.
us in
And the
full.
rest of the media
was pissed at us.
It was like
How dare
AP
we?
was there,
Yep.
and
Associated Press, NBC.
NBC. They were looking at us like,
How dare they?
Who the hell are you?
yeah, who the
They
hell
were
are
already
you to
pissed
ask
we were
her?
stealing their food in the press food area, and then we were invading their workspace, and we
were press.
We were press, so we were just busting our ass trying to get interviews and all this other stuff. And then as we left, he met with us outside.
Yep.
One-on-one, took pictures with us. But we spoke with him one-on-one for a few minutes, and he was definitely one of those guys who I thought had amazing sincerity.
Yeah.
Completely a gentleman the entire time. And what I liked about his Q&A, which I think you get out of Sessions, is he was sitting down with his legs crossed, kind of leaning back on a table, having a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
There was no.
It was a fireside chat.
Yeah, it absolutely was, and he conducted himself amazingly. So when I was watching these hearings, I was thinking of that guy, and just how he was handling these questions like they were nothing, and just throwing things back and forth, and then to change gears like he did, and be insightful about Russia. And he was on the Foreign Relations Committee at the time, which is why it was pertinent to have that conversation.
Yep.
So you flash forward now, why would it be odd that that conversation happened? Now, if you had some sort of evidence that he was colluding with the Russians or trying to keep, that's different, right?
Different story. Absolutely.
Totally different. Let's have
Absolutely.
that conversation. Please, let's have that conversation.
And we would be the first ones to say, hey,
blast him out.
That is absolutely wrong. Oh, he promised all of our tech and missile defense if he helps Trump win the election. Yeah, no.
Oh, he made a deal to sell him
Done.
uranium?
Do him. Oh, he did. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh, that's like Clinton gave all
never
that
mind.
tech to China.
No, but she also sold all the uranium.
She sold uranium to Russia, too.
20% of our
Remember that?
reserves. Yeah.
Huh, never mind.
let's
Nothing to see here. Let's not mention
No.
that.
Let's not investigate her, though. Let's keep dealing. And then there was a sizable amount of donations made to the Clinton Foundation. It doesn't matter.
Nothing to see here.
Coinky-dink.
Nothing to see here.
That's coinky-dink.
You're right.
Yeah.
That was completely. I don't know what I was
Let's keep this
thinking.
all in perspective.
You know,
But the point is, if there was some sort of criminality there, if there was collusion, and not just collusion, because collusion is not a crime.
Right.
Collusion refers to the big business when the government was trying to crack down on monopolies and big business in like the 1920s. So it doesn't apply. There's no such thing as there's no law against collusion. But if there was some sort of crime committed there where he's saying, hey, you hack our election system, get us elected, and we will promise you uranium, or we'll promise you tech, or we'll promise you we'll withdraw our missile defense system from wherever. Hey, that's a whole different ballgame.
Right. Well, but now you have...
And I think it's a whole different ball. Look, do I think it's a big deal Russia attempted to hack into our voting systems? Yeah, I do. I do think that's a big deal. That's something I take very, very seriously. That should be a bipartisan issue, 100%.
Oh, wait.
But I don't think the Trump administration said hack into the voting system and make sure we win.
And who told us just before the election the voting system was fine and nobody could ever get into it?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Sean. Do you remember when Obama said that basically he wanted to federalize the entire election system?
Yes.
And there were those states who said, huzzah, that's a great idea. We're all along in it with you. And some states, unfortunately for them, rebelled and said, no, we'd rather not share. We'd rather be ourselves like Indiana. Right. And then Indiana was hacked thousands of times in an attempt to get into their systems by the
Feds.
NSA under Obama. Now, do you see the linkage between those two? No, I don't.
There's no linkage.
Why would you even look at a
No.
linkage in
No,
that?
that's
BZ?
true.
Yeah, it was probably the Russians that
Because-
did that too.
Oh, God, why are you a hater, BZ?
I know. Rabble rouser.
You just automatically hate why? Because
Rouser,
it was Obama?
comma, rabble, one each.
Why? Because it was just Obama, and there was evidence, and things looked suspicious.
Look,
and
there I
we'd
go
never seen
again.
anything like that.
So I think Sessions conducted himself very, very well. And now I kind of want to segue this because we have only 7.5 minutes left in this segment, and then the next segment is shorter. But I know, Sean, we want to circle back to the shootings.
Yeah.
So BZ, I want to get into after the Comey's testimony and after the Jeff Sessions testimony before Senate, and now we have the expansion of the probe.
Well, let's see. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm frequently wrong. Wasn't it true that the original necessity for special counsel was to determine more information, to dig into the Russia situation and determine if there was causal linkage between Trump and Russia, any one of Trump's minions and Russia, Sessions and Russia, anyone on the Trump side and Russia, certainly not the Dems. And so that was the entire goal.
That was the original goal, but
the special counsel.
The legal precedents to even have a special counsel is they have to be investigating a crime.
Right.
Collusion is not a crime.
Right, But see, how did that get there in the first place? Oh, that's right. By Comey purposely fucking with the politics and inserting himself into the equation politically, which is not the job of an FBI director, then having that done by way of a third party to call up someone at a newspaper in order to acquire a special counsel who, oddly enough, happens to be not just a FBI director, but a really good friend of Robert Mueller. Now, that's just one aspect of it, but now it appears recently that Mueller, why do they call him Miller? It's Mueller.
Mueller.
It's Mueller.
It's Mueller.
Hello. Anyway,
Mueller.
now they've decided
Mueller.
They you do a great Ben Stein.
Oh.
Now there's a headline from Fox that says special counsel is investigating President Trump for obstruction of justice. New report says.
Yeah.
So they've
There's another leak.
Yeah,
Weird.
When you are a leftist and you're not getting exactly what you want, and probably people are talking on the telephone to Bob Mueller, and isn't it odd that now all of a sudden they want to move the goalposts of the investigation?
Because you already have them into place, so you might as well just start fucking with the wickets and getting it to where you want it to be.
But see, here's the other thing that I have to throw out there. If you're Bob Mueller, and there are all these people that are saying that there's massive evidence linking Trump and from Flynn to Trump to all points in between to Russia. And all of a sudden you heard that there was this special counsel. Wouldn't all these people with this information absolutely flood to Bob and give him all this information? And then he would be compiling all of this information.
I just have
and
to
now,
with the Bobs.
For whatever reason, he's decided that he's got to expand his sites.
Because he doesn't have anything, and he wants to get Trump.
No. He must have something because there's all these people.
Under what
that
authority,
that
though?
know for a fact that Trump is in fact colluding and attempting to undermine the United States. Because that's the goal. The goal is to undermine the United States of America.
But what authority does he have to widen the scope of an investigation that he was specifically hired to conduct?
Because no one will stop him.
Right, but that's the problem. Because that's not what he should be doing. He's supposed to be focused specifically as a special prosecutor.
Now, he can expand the scope of the investigation as new facts come up.
If the evidence leads that way.
Right.
But that's not expanding the scope. That's enhancing the evidence.
Exactly. Enhancing the scope based on evidence.
Enhancing the scope based on evidence.
Now, granted, we don't know what he does or doesn't have.
Right.
But my question would be this.
Besides balls.
Why? Yes. Why Mueller for special prosecutor?
Everyone agreed, and they all said it because he's so rational.
Everybody
He's
thought
so
James Comey was
down
rational
to earth.
and down to earth.
He's such a good guy, and he's so unbiased.
Well, and here's the thing about Mueller. I never had an issue with Mueller per se until this investigation started.
Comey's unbiased.
Because of how he started to conduct
Yeah.
it. No. Yeah. I mean, that's a different animal, though.
Well, just ask.
But this is interesting though because of his relationship with Comey.
So now
and
you have a
Comey's
conflict
feelings
of
towards
interest.
Trump. How do you not have a conflict
Humongous
of
conflict.
interest?
Well,
That would
come
be
on.
like me investigating Clint while he's investigating BZ.
So let's
there
let's follow this.
There
Let's
was
follow
no conflict with McCabe.
Let's,
Comey
let's-
said so.
Let's follow this. If you're a conspiracy theorist,
let's just say if.
Is it possible that Mueller is in there, and we've talked about this, because the Republicans want Trump impeached on something, articles of impeachment are brought forward, or an indictment or whatever. Let's say an indictment, that makes it easy. And then he's found guilty because people hate Trump, and he is impeached, and he's removed because the Senate convicts, because there are Republicans that want him out too. And now you have Mike Pence in with 2 years left, or with a year and a half left on a term, say, who can run again. Somebody who's more mainstream, somebody who's more palatable to the American people. Is this orchestrated?
Well, more importantly,
is this an orchestrated attempt, not a truly independent council? Is this an orchestrated attempt to remove Trump from power under the guise of the Republicans? Look, we took care of business ourselves.
And when he's not playing nice with the old school GOP and he's not doing everything that they want to do all the time, and they're part of the swamp he's trying to
You really
drain.
think McCain's not going to vote to convict?
Right. They all would.
Oh, Graham.
Or Graham. Oh, especially Lindsey.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, Lindsey. But then again, I think Lindsey would convict his own mother if
it was politically expedient for him.
And same thing with McCain. I think McCain is.
Oh, definitely McCain.
Yeah.
Do you have his quote from?
Hold on one second.
From the hearing.
I do. Let me see if I can find it.
Because he had an interesting quote.
So this was actually an internal audio from his brain just before he asked that question.
Yeah.
Hold on. There it is. I think I got it now. Yep.
What are you trying to say?
I don't. I know the quote you're looking for. I don't have it available.
Oh.
But yeah.
That was him trying to access information from like 1908.
Well, he had to go to the what was the old microfiche? He had to go down to microfiche.
Right.
It was pretty.
His brain works on microfiche.
Very small little fishies. Wait a minute! Don't you put those down toilets?
Yes,
Fishies?
little fishies go down toilets.
Right. Yes.
Folks, we're up against the break. We come back.
Or on Kamala's hair and chin.
The B word.
Right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Why? Just can't let it go.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Mim from Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds. Join your friends from SHR Media at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 19th through the 22nd for 3 amazing days of liberty-oriented discussion, investment advice, and the Anthem Film Festival. It's our big 10th anniversary, featuring keynote speaker William Shatner and Freedom Fest favorites, including Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Lee Edwards, David Boaz, Doug Casey, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Grover Norquist, Peter Schiff, and many more. Don't miss out. Register at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all-caps code SHR Media.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to our chatters in the chat room at shrmedia.com.
Did you know that Bob Odenkirk wears a toupee?
I did not know that Bob Odenkirk wore a toupee.
In Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
That's a great series, by the way.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I actually like that better than I like Breaking Bad. I wasn't a big...
I watched all of Breaking Bad. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying this every bit as much, if not a little more.
Mm-hmm. I can see why. I think it's a much better show. I don't know why. I just like the character. He's out of his mind.
He is. He's fun.
Oh, man. I just want to... Let's close up the probe with Mueller.
Mueller.
A little bit. Clint, you brought up a really good and interesting point just prior to going to break about, hey, is this part of a bigger scheme? You know, is there something else going on here where the Republicans are and the Democrats, right? Because let's face it, everybody there who is establishment is not happy about this guy. For the most part.
Two other things happened today that very few people are reporting, except the left-wing newspapers. There's a suit from 200 Democrats, and they're going to sue Trump for violating the emoluments clause of the Constitution, meaning that they think he has too many links to, like, foreign agencies. China just approved a bunch of patents, for example. Then
he's not. I mean, he did all the paperwork and severed himself from his business.
That's immaterial. The suit is there, so
Yes.
that goes to intent, as to exactly what you were saying, Sean. Then, of course, there's another investigation, Comey firing now to be investigated by a Senate panel. A new report says so. Again, more investigations.
Well, Comey, he can fire whoever the fuck he wants.
Yeah,
in the executive branch.
But that goes to the point of what you said, Sean. What's the goal? What's the end?
If I were President Trump and they're investigating the firing, if
You know
I were
what it
President
is?
Trump and they were investigating the firing of Comey, I'd walk in and I'd say, you know what? I can't fire any of you because we have a separation of powers. I'd throw the fucking Constitution at him and I'd say, he worked for the executive. I can fire him. Show me in there where I can't do it, and go fuck yourself. Have a nice day. I'm not testifying in front of you, and neither is anybody else in my administration. See ya.
And I laugh when they go back to like the Comey firing, how like, oh, it's unprecedented. Exactly. You know, I hate to say it. Exactly. He shouldn't have been there.
He did a whole show on it.
Well, no, it's not completely unprecedented.
He did a whole show on it. You're fired. That's his thing.
But
that's kind of what he does.
It was his pre-qualifying abilities.
And in that memo, Rosenstein, the assistant director of the DOJ, laid down a perfect series of page after page of reasons, logical, rational, common sense reasons why Comey was fired, for all the right things, the proper things on which to fire Comey.
Yes.
The biggest problem...
And he doesn't need a reason.
No. Number one, he doesn't. But
he doesn't need a reason.
The biggest problem is political. I wrote on my blog, if Trump had a chance to get rid of Comey January 20th, and he could have done it and said, and here's why. That's the reason. But I think Trump wanted to see honestly if he could work with Comey. Which is one of the reasons that Trump likes to sit down and speak to people.
I agree with that statement.
And then he finally discovered he attempted to work with him because Trump is sort of the negotiator, and he thought he could negotiate with Comey. And
he also knew too.
That's a big mistake.
We talked about the political fallout if he did fire Comey really quick, right? We talked about that early.
Yeah, we did.
That we said, hey, if he fires him too quick, they're going to think that's retaliation. All this other stuff that was going on had to do with him not going after Hillary appropriately. And he didn't do that. And as a matter of fact, he gave him plenty of time, perhaps plenty of rope. But either way, at the end of the day, he saw it out, right? He wrote it out with this guy. He's not improving. He's not doing what he was asking him to be done. And he was not doing his job, which as a boss...
And he's not trustworthy.
Right.
There's something that President Trump may have seen in him that showed him that he's not trustworthy. And guess what? He wasn't. He leaked Obviously, the guy's not trustworthy.
All over the chair.
Obviously,
and admitted it.
Obviously, Trump was right. You may not like Trump, but he has the authority to fire him. He exercised that authority.
And he should have that authority.
Yeah, he does have that authority. And I'm not going to say he has that right, because governments don't have rights, right? They have authorities. He had the authority to do so. He did it. And so the fact that the Senate is investigating this now, you know what I want to see? I think it would be absolutely hilarious. President Trump, I hope you're listening to this. If the Senate, if a co-equal branch of government is going to investigate you for exercising your authority as President of the United States, I think you should instruct your Attorney General to investigate the Senate for exercising their lawful authority as well in these investigations. I think I think the executive branch should investigate the legislative branch for abuse of power.
Ooh.
Because that's exactly what they're doing to him.
Ooh.
Yes, I could support that, but again, it's getting back down to the ultimate goal.
BZ, don't be so thoughtful right now. It's a jackass statement, but it's fucking brilliant.
But it does have some merit in terms of the Democrats are attempting to make this all about process. The point of that being to make sure that the actual work doesn't get done.
And here we go. So President Trump, here is your speech, Mr. President. My fellow Americans, I've instructed my Justice Department to launch an investigation into the Senate and their dereliction of duties because they are not engaged in their lawful acts, which is legislating and coming up with budgets and so forth. They are holding hearings about how the executive is conducting itself and lawful exercises of power that I have exercised. And I have since instructed the Justice Department to launch an investigation of the Senate into abuse of taxpayer dollars and waste. And not doing their job because I feel that you, the American taxpayer, needs to be protected and you're not getting your money's worth.
Would you argue...
And the IRS is going to be assisting in the investigation.
Could you argue that perhaps there's a conspiracy to remove a president through fraudulent means?
So, mutiny.
And I'm not
Look, there's a constitutional process in place for removing a president.
Right.
Right. So
all you have to do is make it line up.
Yeah. Well, if you want to follow the Constitution, hey, cool. God bless you. If Trump did something wrong, legitimately, if Trump legitimately broke the law,
right.
By all means.
Different animal altogether.
By all means. If the evidence is there that shows that President Trump did in fact interfere with the investigation. And he said, hey, you will stop this investigation or I will fire you.
Different animal, right? We would be having a totally different conversation.
Totally different conversation.
I'd be 100% on board with it. I would completely understand at that point and be fine.
But I think that the executive needs to launch their own investigations.
Well, I think that senators need to start actually doing senatorial stuff.
And the fact that they're not is wasting taxpayer money.
Absolutely.
That is fraud, waste, and abuse.
Absolutely.
But it's purposeful. Again, to make sure that Trump cannot get the job done.
But
But they're not getting their job done either.
But I kind of want to circle this back into the left and the media and the shooting today. And you might, because like I said, everything has a reason and everything has a goal.
Are you really shocked? I mean, given the fact we just had a play where Julius Caesar was made to look like Donald Trump and then stabbed.
Right.
Right? When you have Madonna that's out on stage screaming about bombing the White House.
Right.
When you have high-profile people on the left that advocate violence. Mm-hmm. Not just his wife's a whore, and I'm not saying that, but I'm using that as an example because we talked about the rhetoric from the campaign of 1800 as well as 1828, right? That kind of vitriol was used, but this is actual violent images violence being outwardly called for. We've talked about BAM. We've talked about Antifa.
Well, let's talk about Bernie Sanders.
Is this well? Yeah, but Bernie Sanders, he is. This is no reflection on Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders immediately came out and condemned this today.
No, absolutely.
You know,
but 4 days ago, I want to play a speech. It's about 3 minutes that Bernie Sanders gave, and you wonder why maybe messengers are getting confused, and politicians need to be more careful about the words that they choose when addressing.
When it comes to violence,
addressing people in general, and how our political process should be in this country. Here we go.
Today in the White House, we have perhaps the worst and most dangerous president in the history of our country. And we also have, not to be forgotten, extreme right-wing leadership in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate. Despite the current President of the United States. Oh, you know who I am talking to, but what I'm talking about. The American people, whatever Trump may think, or is usually the case, not think, the American people understand that we have a moral responsibility to leave this planet healthy and habitable for our children and for our grandchildren. And I am more than aware that Republican governors all across this country are working overtime to suppress the vote, to make it harder for people of color, poor people, old people, young people to vote. That is what we are facing today. And that is a lot of obstacles.
I take umbrage. Look, that's his political belief, and that's fine. I have issue with one part what he said, and that is when he said that in the White House we have the most dangerous president, basically, that our country has ever known. When you say, not we have a president whose policies are completely ridiculous, or we have a president who's trying to oppress the vote, whatever. But when you say we have a dangerous president, and you use the word dangerous.
Yes, that's insightful.
I think that's insightful for this reason. And there are many that might disagree with me, but here's why I have issue with the word dangerous being used by a politician like this. Because if a president of the United States is dangerous, that doesn't indicate, he's not clarifying dangerous to our way of life.
Right.
He's not clarifying dangerous to the Constitution. He's dangerous to the process. He's dangerous to our agenda. He says dangerous and lets it hang.
Right.
Which denotes a sense of personal safety being at risk.
But then he
and hang on a sec. I'm sorry. Hang on a sec. If personal safety is at risk, what is the reaction of some folks?
Well,
it is going to be
that means he's dangerous to you
personally,
right?
To you,
which means
the audience.
Which means if you have to take steps because something is dangerous to you, and you get rid of that danger, it is rationalized in the brain as self-defense.
You had to do what you had to do.
You had to do what you had to do, and that's why I don't like that word dangerous.
But you also look
used.
at his next comment, right? We have a right-wing extreme House and Senate.
Yeah, look, I don't take umbrage with that because it's like when we said, hey, we have an extreme left president.
When you start combining the two, you're looping them in with that presidential statement.
Yeah, to an extent, I agree.
Okay,
but I would have had a bigger problem, I think, if he said we have a very danger's extreme right wing.
Yeah,
but he used dangerous specifically with the president, and that without qualifying what he poses a danger to. Man, and don't get me wrong, I do not want to suppress speech. I'm not saying that we should suppress Bernie Sanders' speech and saying he can't say that. But I have an issue with that. I would have an issue if somebody on the right said, well, look, we said President Obama was dangerous to our way of life as Americans, right? We've said, hey, President Obama's agenda is dangerous to liberty. We have qualified that statement.
Well, we didn't say the man
We didn't say that, right. And as a matter of fact, numerous times we've said that, hey, look, I'd love to have a beer with President Obama.
Right.
I'm sure he's a good father. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't know that he'd really want to sit down and have a beer with us per se, but I have no problem with Mr. Obama personally. We've said that numerous times on the show. We disagreed with his politics. We disagreed with his belief system fundamentally.
Right.
But that's not what's being said on the other side, particularly when you're calling somebody personally dangerous.
Right. And when you have, I'm not saying he's a specific elected leader of that super left groups that we see out there now, the Antifa and all that other stuff, but he is kind of the poster child leader for those groups.
Yeah, he is. He is a
Whether
socialist.
He wants to be or he doesn't want to be, he is.
He absolutely is.
But we've also discussed in the past about politicians specifically choosing words correctly and being very, very wise about what they say because of the amount of power that they carry with their words.
Yes.
And coming off the election cycle and the aftermath, so to speak, with the election cycle with the leftists and the socialists, people are very, very churned up. People are very, very angry on that side. They're being violent. They're doing all these other things. I think it falls upon you even more as Bernie Sanders to be much more cautious about how you say things and what you say. Now, I do not think that he is complicit in what happened today.
Absolutely not.
I do not. I think that he is as upset as everybody else is that it happened today. I commend him for coming out and saying what he said today. But what I'm saying is out of the left, you see these hateful speeches, these almost warmongering style speeches to their own political groups, their political parties, their funders, and their backers, and idiots like the one who committed the shooting today.
And I'm sorry.
And there needs to be a level of accountability from the people to these leaders.
And to be fair, that's on both sides. President Trump has tweeted out some ridiculous stuff himself.
I'm not saying it's not.
Right. No, but look, we pride ourselves on here at SHR, particularly on the Sackheads Radio Show, of being fair.
Right.
We have our point of view for sure. We have our, I don't want to say agenda, but we certainly have a political bias and a point of view. This is an opinion show. However, there are those on the right, and President Trump has been guilty. I don't know that he's ever tweeted that anybody is dangerous or called for violence or anything. I don't think he has. But he has sent out his share of inflammatory tweets.
Right.
He's done it too, and there are some on the right that have been. And look, that's not okay.
But I've said too. I've said right along, politicians in this country need to be better about how they choose their words and how they speak to the people.
Yes,
in general.
Look, I don't have a problem per se of politicians, name calling, and nobody really wants to hear about slinging mud. It should be about the issues. Slinging mud is part of it. Has been in our politics since 1800. But when you start going down the road of labeling somebody as a terrorist or as dangerous, personally as dangerous, to the people, not to an agenda, for example.
But that is dangerous.
That's what I'm talking about. That is where that's not okay. I tend to agree with you.
Right.
Not that I wish to silence that speech, but,
no, but
both sides need to be aware of what they're saying.
You can get your point across, and I'm not even calling for anyone to do anything about this. I'm speaking to Bernie Sanders and other politicians like him directly when I say you need to be more intelligent.
Right, but
you have more responsibility than you may even realize on some.
But it is up to the people to say, just like us, if Trump said, hey, Bernie Sanders is dangerous to the American people and needs to be stopped, you know what?
But if he said Bernie Sanders' politics is dangerous to the American people,
hey, Bernie Sanders is dangerous to the American people because he doesn't believe in constitutional principles and your way of life could, hey, you know what? Yeah. But we talked about it, but
we just know.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but it's absolutely true.
Before we go, I'd like to interject this one final story
of course.
That has everything to do with what you've been saying, Sean. Today, following the shooting, the office of Representative Claudia Tenney, a Republican in New York, got a threatening email with the subject line of 1 down, 216 to go. Right afterwards, and it said this: "Did you not expect this? When you take away ordinary people's very lives in order to pay off the wealthiest among us, your own lives are forfeit. Certainly your souls and morality were lost long before. Good riddance.
Well, and I've seen people tweeting that they wish that he'd taken more bullets. I've seen just some horrific things being treated about this. And then you also look at the left jumping on this for gun control right away, right?
Of course.
And we knew that was coming.
Of course.
You have Terry McAuliffe in Virginia saying, 93 million Americans are killed every year from gun violence, which is just an arbitrary number that means absolutely nothing because, I think Dan Butcher did the math. It'd be like, 5 days, we're all dead then?
Yeah.
Or 5 years or whatever. But then you had, Representative Mo Brooks, who was actually at the baseball field for the shooting, was doing an interview after the fact. I want to play this really quick if you don't mind. But listen to how quickly, this is just after the shooting, listen to how quickly the media jumps on gun control.
You understand how high profile the target you are. The general public doesn't understand that, but law enforcement, I'm just, my heart is out to the 2 Capitol Police who were shot defending us.
Hey, Congressman,
I know it's a lot. And I'm so thankful that they risked their lives to save ours.
Congressman, does this change your views on the gun situation in America?
Not with respect to the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment right to bear arms is to help ensure that we always have a republic. And as with any constitutional provision in the Bill of Rights, there are adverse aspects to each of those rights that we enjoy as people. And what we just saw here is one of the bad side effects of someone not exercising those rights properly. But we're not going to get rid of freedom of speech because some people say some really ugly things that hurt other people's feelings. We're not going to get rid of this Fourth Amendment search and seizure rights because it allows some criminals to go free who should be behind bars. These rights are there to protect Americans, and while each of them has a negative aspect to them, they are fundamental to our being the greatest nation in world history. So no, I'm not changing my position on any of the rights that we enjoy as Americans. As with respect to this particular shooter, I'd really like to know more about him, whether he was an ex-felon, by way of example, who should not have had possession of a firearm. I'd like to know other things about his background before I pass judgment on what should
Congressman Brooks, it's only been 3 hours.
Yeah, immediately they're jumping on the gun debate, which is, we knew they would. I thought his answer was perfect.
Yeah.
The only way I think he could have put the cherry on top of that answer is if he would have said, and the reason I'm probably still standing here today is because there were armed individuals there to take action and saved our lives.
Absolutely.
That would have been the cherry on top.
So, hey, just breaking news really quick, and this is coming over Fox on the Alert, is that the Port of Charleston is being evacuated due to a potential threat as we speak. So that's going on at the Port of Charleston right now. I don't.
Do we know what the threat is or any other information?
Does not have any information right now. Obviously, if we get more in the next 2.5 minutes, I'll be happy to share it along. But just a heads up of what just flashed across.
But see, the funny thing is, the hypocrisy of it all is each and every one of the leftists in Congress, in government, local government, state government, federal government, all benefit from armed men and women.
Oh.
They all benefit from it. Number 2 point, Europe wants its own First Amendment. Europe wants
First Amendment?
Second.
No, they want a first. They want more free speech.
Oh.
They also want the Second Amendment.
Yes.
Because more specifically of what Merkel has flooded their continent with.
Right. And it's just going to get worse. And that, it's funny. We keep you have the leftists in this country trying to go to Europe and be Europe, and then you have the Europeans now trying to become Americans.
Yep.
And why? They're 5 years ahead of us in this terrorism thing. They're seeing it.
I've said that for years. Exactly. And we are not learning from them.
Absolutely not. Hey, before we go to break,
South Carolina terminal reportedly evacuated as FBI investigates report of a dirty bomb.
Okay, so that's a big deal. That's an enormous deal.
Reporting a dirty bomb on a ship in the Wando terminal.
Because you know what? that information would not hit anything if there was not some sort of legit concern.
So this is on Fox News, just now coming out. South Carolina terminal reportedly evacuated as FBI investigates report of a dirty bomb. I'm going to read the report. Again, this is on foxnews.com, published on, this says June 15th, because they're other side of the country, East Coast. Terminal has been evacuated along with a section of the Cooper River. The threat is for the vessel more than the public, authorities reportedly said. They are investigating out of an abundance of caution. Captain Greg Stump, the commander for the Coast Guard sector in Charleston, said a number of law enforcement agencies are on scene. He said a YouTube conspiracy theorist made a claim about a threat on board one of the ships. The report said the ship in question is the Maersk Memphis. Containing a potential dirty bomb.
Yeah, the Maersk lines, they run a series of container ships.
Yeah.
And we always said the ports were very easy to get things into because there's so much traffic.
But a dirty bomb.
Yeah. When was the last time that was actually stated in this country, in the news media?
I can't recall.
That a potential dirty bomb.
I can't recall. So if you want to read more, you can read that Fox News story, which I just read to you verbatim, for the most part. It's on foxnews.com.
We'll follow it right
and
here.
You know what's
not an SHR story.
What's en route, if they're not already there, that nobody knows about, very few people? Nest. Google NEST, Nuclear Emergency Search Team.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I thought...
I'm like a bald eagle?
I actually thought my thermometer in my house. I was like, oh, no, you're right. Turn the AC down. It's going to get a little hot down there.
Yep.
Obviously, thoughts and prayers with the people going to investigate that, and hope all will turn out to be false. Folks, that's it for the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. We'll be back next Wednesday at 11 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night. In the exact same time slot right here, we have the Below-Eating, Zeppelins, Berserk, Bobcats.
With the first of special appearances every Thursday night by Dan Butcher.
And it will be a wonderful show. Thank you to all the great hosts, and thank you to the listeners for sticking around with us here on the Sackheads Radio Show. We will see you next week.
They will see us. We can't see them.
Conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.